Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining HR Mentorship Learning Series. My name is Oluyemi Adeosun, and I'm excited to have us featured today, Ademola Odewade, who will be facilitating the topic Business Acumen for HR Professionals. We are truly honored to have with us this truly dynamic thought leader whose work sits at the intersection of finance, leadership, transformation. Ladies and gentlemen, he has an MBA. He's also an associate chartered accountant. He also has a bachelor's of science. He's not just a finance leader and entrepreneur, but also the founder and CEO of Cadence Consulting Limited. He's an international podcast host with two globally ranked shows. The King Dems podcast ranks in the top 2.5% worldwide on listening notes, and the Diary of a CFO ranked in the top 5% globally. Ademola is widely recognized for his ability to blend global mindset, financial intelligence, and people strategy into practical frameworks that help professionals and organizations achieve measurable results. His insights have guided entrepreneurs, executives, and HR leaders across 80 plus countries, and his philosophy on mindset, skill set, and tool sets continue to inspire global audiences. Today, we will challenge us to see HR not just as a cost center, but as a strategic value creator, from AI analytics to leadership and global acumen. The session is packed with actionable strategies that can elevate HR into a true business driver. So get ready to take notes, engage, and most importantly, reimagine what's possible for HR in the future of work. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Ademola Odewade. You have the floor, my brother. Thank you so much.
Wow. Thank you very much, sir, for such a powerful introduction. Wow. I feel pumped with that one. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me when a person appreciates my body of work, and I'm grateful. I love to say something that gratitude is good attitude, and when a person shares their time with you, they share their life with you because the SI unit for measuring life is time. And to my wonderful audience today, thank you very much for taking your time out as well to participate in this knowledge sharing session. So I want us to be highly interactive, right? I am just your moderator, right? It is knowledge sharing for a reason. I'm here to pass across relevant, insightful information to you. And of course, you're also here to receive, not just to receive, to also have input to improve my body of knowledge as much as I am helping to improve your body of knowledge as well. So please, guys, feel free to interact in the chat box. Can we have a volunteer to serve as the prefect for this session? If you would volunteer to be the prefect for this session, kindly raise your hand in the would I say in the comment section? Uh, do we all know how to raise a hand via Zoom? Any takers? Okay, so I will share my screen. And everyone should let me know if you're able to see my screen. I have a presentation that is meant to be on your screen. Kindly confirm if you are able to see my presentation.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, fantastic. I see thumbs up, thumbs up. A blessing is a blessing to the session. Thank you very much. And of course, I will proceed to the presentation. So I think I have my hands-on picture up there with the title Business Acumen for HR Professionals, right? HR is an acronym that means human resources, right? And I believe that everyone on this call, if not an HR professional, has had to interact with HR professionals at some point in their journeys or their careers in life and of course in business. So my very next slide is if HR were a superhero. To the left of my screen, you can see that superhero. What superhero do we have on there? Let me know in the chat box. So let's start with a fun question. question to get our creative minds flowing. What would HR superpower be? Think about it for a moment. Would it be the ability to read minds, to instantly resolve conflict, to predict the future of talent needs? Drop one word in the chat. Let's capture your vision of HR's ultimate superpower. So this question is actually not just an icebreaker. It's about reimagining what HR can become in today's business landscape. And of course, your answers are going to reveal just that for all of us to see how we collectively view HR's potential to transform organizations. I do not have a clear screen of the chat box, but if if you know, if you, okay, let me see, uh, I can see some feedback from the chat box saying the volume is low. Am I the only one experiencing it? I can hardly hear in. Okay. Hello everyone. I will do a check on the technical devices and give you let me get a feedback as to if you can hear me properly. Uh, are you able to hear me properly right now? Someone says the volume is fine from my end, but let me know. Okay, I just, okay, fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, people, for the feedback. Okay, so back to our presentation slides, right? I would like for us to touch on the evolution of HR as a role within organizations. You know, we have different types of organizations. Let's start from there. We have the private sector organizations and we have the public sector organizations. Whether you're private, whether you're public sector, whether you're a charity, as long as you are an organization with more than 10 employees, there is actually that need to have a human resource department. It helps to streamline and to take care of the talent, right? The people in an organization. There is a very wise man. He's a top CEO in a Fortune 500 company that I once interviewed on my podcast. He told me this thing. He said, in life, we have three major resources. We have time, we have money, and we have effort. Time, money, and effort. And when we think about effort, effort comes from human resources, right? So the traditional role of human resources has always been as an administrative support. That is, the traditional HR is focused on payroll, compliance, record keeping, and of course, it is an essential function, but it has always been reactive in nature, right? It has been reactive in terms of how the business is being run, in terms of the business operations. However, in this age and time, you know, the business landscape is actually way more competitive than what it used to be in prior years. And we have had to see an evolution in terms of the efficiency and, of course, the contributions of the HR department to the modern day business enterprises. I did have a session with the top tax debt resolution expert in the United States of America. Her name is Morgan Anderson. We've had three sessions on my platform, and she said to me in the first session, you are a modern day business philosopher. And what does a modern day business philosopher, do? They actually observe business environments and are able to provide, advice based on the understanding of these business environments. And the understanding has to be empirical in nature. That is, you need to identify facts, observable facts, and turn it into valuable recommendations for the businesses in modern era. So in terms of the modern era of business, HR has now transformed into a strategic business partner. So modern HR drives business strategy, it shapes cultures, it creates competitive advantage through people-focused initiatives. Uh, any one of us who has had classes in economics would understand the theory of comparative advantage, wherein nations or organizations are meant to focus on their areas of core competence, and that would help them to achieve efficiency. So, bringing this back to the Nigerian environment, by the way, very big shout out to Nigeria. I'm always very proud of my heritage. Uh, it's October 2 today. Happy Independence Day, Nigeria. So, this transformation is actually happening globally, and of course, with Nigerian giants, the likes of MTN, UPA, Dangote, Shell, and of course, these guys are leading the way. So these organizations have been able to elevate HR from the traditional support function to a strategic business driver. And of course, they recognize that people strategy directly impacts the bottom line results. Speaking of the bottom line, when you talk about the bottom line, you're talking about the profit in a business. In traditional economics, they say, what is the purpose of entrepreneurship? What is the focus of an entrepreneur in a capitalist system? It is to optimize profits, right? And revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, and cash is reality in business. So profit tells you that you are winning in the game of business, and cash flows decides how long you can stay in that game. If the HR function is directly involved in optimizing the profitability of a business, for those of us who are accountants in the house, we understand that that business will be a going concern. And what is a going concern? A going concern is an organization that is deemed to be primed to continue in business operations for the next foreseeable future. And the yardstick is at least for the next 1 year, right? That is, there are no factors, there are no limiting factors that inhibit their continuous operations. And it's not just about having continuous operations. You need to consistently be profitable and also grow. And this is where the HR function comes in to hire the best talent. And we all know that it's not just about hiring the best talent, retention is also important. And how do we achieve that? We'll go to the next slide. Let me get some feedback from the chat box. Uh, if you're able to hear me well, loud and clear, let me get feedback in the chat box. Just leave a thumbs up sign in the chat box. If you're able to hear me well, please drop, drop a thumbs up in the chat box. Okay, I see thumbs up in the chat box. Thank you very much. And of course, guys, if you have any questions for me along the line of the presentation, please drop your uh, questions in the chat box. I am going to come back to the Zoom screen to check on your questions from time to time. So let me get some feedback in the chat box. If you're able to see my presentation and you understand what I have been saying so far, please give me type a yes in the chat box, of course. So uh, the next slide is about adopting a growth mindset. Adopting a growth mindset. So HR as a value creator, not just a cost center, right? The fundamental shift in HR begins with the mindset. A top business coach from the United States taught me this. He said, when you're hiring people in an organization, what are the factors you need to evaluate? What are the factors that you need to evaluate, right? Now, for most organizations, they tend to evaluate just the skill set of the individual and their abilities to use the tool sets that the business adopts in their operations. However, that is a very wrong approach towards human resource hiring, selection, recruitment. Why? Because there is a bigger factor higher and above the skill set. So the right order is you evaluate the mindset before evaluating the skill set. And then the last thing is the tool set. Now, you cannot teach people or easily teach people mindset. Yeah, let's put it that way. It is very difficult to train people on mindset. So, for example, you cannot teach a person to be determined, to be resilient, to be hungry, to be passionate, to be hardworking, to be committed. It's very, very difficult to teach those values, right? So the onus is on HR, right, to identify the human resources, right, the people that align with the organization's culture and the mindset that is required to function as the value adding personnel in that organization, right? So that speaks to HR as a value creator, not just a cost center. You're not just there to earn your salaries, right? And do documentations and think that is what HR is just about, right? So the fundamental shift in HR begins with mindset. When we view HR as a value creator rather than just a cost center, everything changes. It's not just a change, it's a transformation. So you start asking different questions, like how can we drive revenue through talent strategy, right? For example, HR are the ones in charge of hiring the sales team, the business development team, right? You need to get the right talent together that can execute for the organization to take them, to the next level. So what workforce innovations will give the organization competitive advantage? How do you measure HR's impact on business outcomes? Right? These things are very, very important. So there's a powerful quote that reminds us that HR professionals often have untapped potential waiting to be unleashed. So the skills, the insights, and strategic thinking are there. They just need the right framework and the right mindsets to emerge. I will take a look at the Zoom screen before I proceed. Okay, I can hear you clearly. Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much, Matiebo Ako. Your feedback is highly, highly appreciated. So onto the next screen, right? So I have an interactive poll here. So it is about HR superpowers. So what HR superpower matters most in today's business environment? A is strategic thinking. And let me explain briefly what strategic thinking is. It is the ability to see the big picture and align HR initiatives with business objectives. So I'd like for us to drop in the chat section, right? If you believe it is strategic thinking, if you believe it is financial literacy, if you believe it is data analytics, if you believe it is relationship building. So we have how many options here? We have one, two, three, four, right? I'll repeat this: strategic thinking, financial literacy, data analytics, or relationship building. I would love for you to provide answers in the chat box. I am not sure if I'm able to make a poll, right? In order for us to make this more interactive via Zoom, I'll just be around with the functions and see if you're able to create a poll. If you're not able to create a poll, let's just have your responses in the chat box, right? So we have, okay, I'm not able to see the function of creating a poll. So I'm just going to repeat the options again. Strategic thinking, financial literacy, data analytics, and relationship building. So I'll go on to explain what these different superpowers that HR should have. So strategic thinking, like I said previously, is the ability to see the big picture and align HR initiatives with the business objectives. So financial literacy is about understanding the numbers. Do you understand your balance sheet? Do you understand your POL or your income statement? Do you understand the budgets? Do you understand the cash flow statement? Do you understand the statement of changes in equity? Do you understand the notes to the account, right? And how can HR decisions impact the financial performance of your organization? So moving on to data analytics, this is about using data to make evidence-based decisions and predict workforce trends. That is using the data. I once interviewed a top CEO who mentioned something very important. He said, in business today, you need to follow the data points, follow the data points, follow the numbers. The numbers always tell a story, right? Numbers don't lie. Relationship building is the last one, right? So this is about creating trust, creating influence, and collaboration across all organizational levels. Creating trust, creating influence, and collaboration across all organizational levels. So let's take a moment to consider which of these superpowers you choose. And first, each one of them represents a critical competency for modern HR professionals. But which one of them do we think is the greatest in terms of impact, in your opinion, or probably in your current role in your organization or your career? I see somebody in the chat box says relationship building. Interesting take, right? Another person says data analytics. Wow. So I guess this is actually based off people's interest or people's perspective. So people see things from different angles, and that is what informs our perspectives. So on to our next slide. I have prepared something called the 5 pillars of HR excellence. And this is actually of a model that was provided to us as employees during my time at PwC. So I did work with two of the global Big Four accounting firms and did leave at mid-management level. So I spent time at PwC and KPMG. These are two of the global Big Four. So at PwC, they basically gave us a cheat code, right? And this cheat code is the performance appraisal for staff members within the organization. So you need to abide by a professional framework. So you are praised at PwC based off how you perform against five major factors. And I've, taken that and adopted that into creating the 5 pillars of HR excellence. So mind you, this aligns with the skill set. So we've spoken about the mindset. You need the right mindset to excel as a professional, to excel as a personnel, to excel as human resource, right? But then when we talk about the skill sets, what skill sets should we be looking out for? What skill sets should we evaluate people in order to hire them, in order to appraise them, in order to train them? Because HR also delves into training and development, right? So number one skill is full leadership. This is the most important skill, right? And it entails developing authentic leadership that inspires, motivates, guides other people, right? through change and growth, right? If you want to change the world, you need to start with yourself. How do you lead yourself and how do you lead others? So the next one syncs and links, you know, with what we are discussing today, right? Business acumen for who? HR. Now, the second pillar is business acumen, and that entails understanding how businesses operate, you know, how they make money and how they create value for stakeholders. Mind you, the word here is not the shareholders, it is the stakeholders, but you have different stakeholders in every business ecosystem. And the stakeholders are basically the individuals, right, or the entities that are directly or indirectly impacted by the activities of that business. So, if you will, you can call this the commercial mindset. You need to be commercially aware. You need to understand your business environment, right? You need to understand what can impact it positively and negatively, and how can you navigate the murky waters of the business environment. So the next one is technical competence. So mastering the HR specific skills, like while staying current with emerging technologies and practices, this is very, very important. Uh, are you able to use the latest CRM tools, right? This links to it. Are you able to perform effectively and efficiently, right? The necessary HR documentations and align with, the new regulations within the domain, within the territory that your business operates in. So the next one is global acumen, that is understanding diverse markets, cultures, business practices in the interconnected world, and also being able to work efficiently with cross-functional teams. How does HR work with the C-suite executive? How does HR work with uh, mid-management level? How does HR work with senior management level? How does HR work with, you know, the graduate trainees, right? These are very, very important skills to master. And of course, the very last one is building relationships. That is creating meaningful connections that drive collaboration and organizational success. So these five pillars form the foundation of exceptional HR leadership. So when you master them, you will transform from just being a HR professional into being a strategic business leader who happens to work in human resources. So I will check the Zoom interface again to see if we have any update from there. I don't think we do. The last thing I can see on here is data analytics. So guys, can you kindly share a yes with me in the comment section to let me know if you can hear me loud and clear? Can I get a yes, please, in the comment section if you can still hear me? Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you very much, On. So I will move on to our very next slide. So the very next slide is your development priority. So we've been talking about, different skills, the skill set, the mindset, the tool set, but let's bring it home. Let's bring it to ourselves. In economics, I remember elementary economics, we taught something called the scale. Hello, who is on there? We have somebody unmuted. Guys, kindly mute your mics in order to prevent any intersections. Okay, so your development priorities, that is, what should we prioritize in terms of development from where we are to what we can be? Potentials are different from credentials, right? And of course, the only room that never gets filled up is a room for improvement. So let's have an interactive reflection. So looking at the five skill set pillars, that we have just discussed, which one of them do you want to strengthen in the next 12 months? So this is how we can do it. You can assess your current strengths, rate yourself honestly on each of the five pillars. Where do you feel most confident, right? And it's good to adopt a five-tier scaling system. So you can start with one, which is the weakest, two, right? Three, four, five. So five, you can call that if you are performing at the next level. Uh, four, you're partially performing at the next level. Three, you are performing at grade. Two, you're performing partially below grade. And of course, one is performing below grade. So you can evaluate yourself on a 5 point system. And next thing, you identify your growth edge. So which pillar is strengthened would have the biggest impact on your career and your effectiveness. When you perform that assessment, then you can now proceed to create an action plan, right? If we fail to plan, we plan to fail. So preparation, when it meets opportunity, we call it success. So what specific steps will you take in the next 90 days to develop each of these skill sets, right? And with that, we can always reassess every 90 days. And trust me, you will always become a better version of yourself as a professional and, of course, as an individual. You adopt um, this model. So I remember an episode that I did have on the Kingdoms podcast with Stephanie Hayes. I call Stephanie Hayes the founder's founder because she's a serial entrepreneur and coincidentally, she is also a PwC alumnus, right? So she shared insights about agility, valuation, mindset, and entrepreneurship. Of course, the same principles apply to developing your HR skill sets. So it's important to stay agile, understand your value, maintain a growth mindset throughout your journey. And uh, the only way is up for you. And of course, you will be excellent at what it is that you do. Can I get yes, yes. Now let's go for double yeses if you understand what I have been saying so far and if you can still hear me. Can I get yes X2? So let's type in yes X2 in the chat box, guys. So this is a sample of a HR dashboard. So let's move on to the next slide. And of course, the next slide talks about the future of HR, that is AI plus analytics revolution. For those of you who know my first name and my middle name, I am Ademola Isimeme, and coincidentally, my initials are AI. I don't know why I was given those initials. I guess my parents did know something that other people did not know about the future. I have been a very big emphasis of AI. I adopt AI in everything that I do. I've used AI to scale two podcasts, into globally ranked podcasts in less than 2 years. I started my first podcast in November 2023 and the second one 15th of June 2025. And people were amazed that you're able to achieve what people achieve within 5 to 7 years in less than 2 years. The simple answer is AI and a growth mindset, right? Uh, the mindset, the skill set, and of course the tool set. So my tool set is AI and data analytics. And if you adopt that same tool set in HR, you can only achieve excellence. So speaking of tomorrow's competitive advantage, the convergence of AI and analytics with the use of CRMs, right, is currently reshaping HR's potential. Forward-thinking HR professionals are leveraging these tools to do what? First, you can predict attrition risk before it even becomes critical. You're able to optimize the workflow, the workforce planning with data-driven insights, right? You're able to create executive dashboards that tell compelling stories, and of course, you're able to personalize employee experiences at scale. So making this make sense to us, right? How many of us use ChatGPT in this webinar? If you use ChatGPT, kindly type in the word ChatGPT in the comment section. So I'll give you some time to type in ChatGPT into the comment section, right? With the use of ChatGPT and other AI tools, everyone on this call can agree with me that you are able to perform tasks faster and more efficient, right? Than what you used to do. But it's not just about having these AI tools channel information to you. Are you able to create an execution plan? Are you able to create an implementation plan? You know, a lot of people and a lot of organizations suffer from a disease I call paralysis by analysis. So you are able to generate, the fanciest of reports, the fanciest of plans using AI, using data analytics, using CRMs. However, are you able to bring implementation to that education, right? If you do not perform implementation on the education that you have, you cannot have a manifestation of the results that you intend to achieve, right? So you need to have a synchronization of the education, right, which is provided by the combination of AI and data analytics. And of course, the CRM tools help us with the implementation. There are a lot of CRM tools available in this age and time. We have, tools like HubSpot, for example, that is very hot in the market, and of course, it's helping transform, a lot of organizations. Uh, so I did interview uh, a certain Dr. Joy Shagan, who is on Forbes list. He's on a lot of internationally recognized business publications, right? And his research on the subconscious programming and AI efficiency was featured on my podcast, Diary of a CFO. And of course, it highlighted that combining human insight with artificial intelligence creates exponential value. So the question to you today is whether AI will change HR. It's whether you will be leading or following that change. So rather, let's put it this way, the question is not whether AI will change HR. AI is actually going to change, and not just change, transform every business function. Or my question to you today is, are you going to be leading or are you going to be following that change? Of course, it's up to you. So checking back on the Zoom platform, if you are following me, if you can still hear me, can you type AI in the chat box, please? Those two alphabets, AI. Please type AI in the chat box if you can still hear me. So on to our next slide. So I think we should start thinking about our questions that we would ask at the end of the presentation. So we have a case study here. It's about MTN Nigeria's digital transformation. So what is the challenge that was identified? MTN recognized that digital transformation required a complete reskilling of their workforce to remain competitive in the telecoms industry. So they initiated an HR-led strategy. So HR became the strategic driver, designing comprehensive upskilling programs and talent acquisition strategies aligned with digital goals. And what was the outcome? The business results. So proactive talent strategy resulted in improved employee engagement, and of course, it reduced turnover and successful digital transformation across all business units. We all know about MTN. I think almost everybody on this call, if you don't have an MTN SIM or if you're not an MTN customer, a close family member of yours is certainly an MTN customer. So this case demonstrates how HR can shift from reactive support to proactive business driver, and by anticipating the skill gaps and designing solutions before they become critical. So MTN's HR team created measurable business value and competitive advantage for the company. Uh, On to our next slide, right? I think my background in economics makes me to oftentimes draw a lot of what I say references to economic theories, right? So I don't know how many of us remember the theory of the factors of production in economics, right? We can align that theory to the role of HR. In economics, there are four fundamental factors of production that drive economic growth. And they're number one, land. When we talk about land, you're talking about natural resources and physical space. Uh, the number two is labor, and labor is human resources and the workforce. Number three is capital. We're talking about money. We're talking about financial resources and, of course, equipment. And number four is entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship, we're talking about innovation and business leadership. As HR professionals, you would realize that you have a direct link, a direct connection with three of these four factors. That is labor. So you recruit, you develop, you train, you optimize human capital, and that is the most valuable and most complex factor of production. So up next is capital. So through the workforce planning and talent ROI analysis, you directly impact how financial resources are allocated and utilized. And of course, we have entrepreneurship. We foster innovation and innovative culture, develop the leaders, and of course, you create environments where the entrepreneurial thinking can thrive. So this intersection makes HR one of the most strategically important functions in any organization. And you're not just managing people, you are optimizing the core drivers of economic value creation, right? The production process is what you're optimizing. And if anybody understands the fundamentals of economics, right? Production, the value of production in any economy is what drives economic growth. We keep hearing GDP. What is GDP? That is gross domestic product, right? GNP, gross national product. The major indices for measuring economic growth is the production capacity of that economy. And with that, before moving to the next slide, I'll check the box. Okay, we have people saying AI, AI. So before I move to the next slide, you are still with me, type in GDP into the chat box. GDP into the chat box to confirm that you are following. Okay, I have one GDP. Cool, cool, cool. Let me move to the next slide. So, what's your next steps to achieve HR excellence? So, remember my theory again. If you don't remember anything from this session, please remember three words: mindset, skill set, and tool set, right? So these are your next steps to HR excellence. The mindset transformation, embrace resilience, proactivity, and innovation as your core operating principles. Challenge yourself to think like a business owner, not just an HR professional. Up next, the skill set development. You should focus on core leadership and business fluency. Speak the language of strategy, finance, and results. Make yourself indispensable to business outcomes. And of course, the tool set mastery, right? Integrate AI and analytics into your daily workflow. Build future ready capabilities that position you as an HR innovator, and a strategic advisor. So for you to continue learning, I would appreciate for you to go into the massive library that I have built for you at the Kingdoms podcast, ranked global top 2.5%, and of course, a Diary of a CFO, ranked global top 5%. I will share, I think, a barcode for you to join my newsletter. If you join my newsletter, I would send the slides that have been used today to you. And of course, these slides have been created by my amazing tech partner. I'm an affiliate partner with Gamma app, and it's a fantastic tool for making presentations like this. If you like the look and feel, you can go try it out or sign up using my link. And of course, let's stay connected and let's keep growing. So you can join over 10,000 professionals, and entrepreneurs across the world that benefit from the insights that I share. So if you scan the barcode on your screen, I will send to you the slides that we have used in this presentation. So a very, very big thank you to the organizers of this webinar, Dr. Oluyemi Adeosha. I'm really grateful for the invite. And of course, I'm grateful to have had the opportunity to enlighten us. I have only two goals: to educate and to motivate. And if I do that, I think my work is done. If you have any questions before I take my bow, let me know in the chat box. Any questions, if any, let me know in the chat box. Is Dr. Oluyemi still on the call? Uh, he's still on the call. Kindly let me know. If not, if within 2-3 minutes I don't get any questions, I think I will close the session. So if you do have any questions, let me know in the chat box. But I have only 2 minutes left on this call before I get to join my next meeting. So kindly let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you very much. No questions from here. We'll just likely get the slides. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you can scan the barcode and
Yeah.
sign up for the newsletter. I will send the slides to you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh, somebody says to scroll down a bit so that you're able to scan the barcode properly. And how can I do that? Let's see, image. So let me see if I can share the barcode to everyone via the Zoom chat to make it easy. So I've shared that via the chat. So I think that's easy for everyone to.
Yeah, we got that. Thank you.
Hey, you are welcome. So once more, does anyone have any question before I sign out? It takes 1 minute to save a life.